Meeting order. In the absence of Roger, I will chair the meeting this evening. My name is Rich Barrick. I'm Vice Chairman, I guess, the commission. So called meeting to order. This is a regular zoning commission meeting, Sycamore Township, April 11th. Mr. Meese, will you call the roll?
Sure. Ms. Flanagan. Here. Mr. Barrett.
Present.
Mr. Roos.
Present.
Mr. Swanson.
Here.
Here as well.
Good. All right. Let's see, first item on our agenda is approval of minutes from March 14th. I was not there, so I will not vote on it, but do we have any comments or adjustments to make the meeting minutes?
I'll move that we approve the minutes from March 14th of 22.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. See, old business, we have nothing on our schedule for that this evening. So moving on, new business, we have one case number 2022-07 MA. This is at 8261 and 8271 Pine Road. So Mr. Muller, you want to give us an introduction on the case?
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right. Good evening, everyone. First off, I apologize. Don't know what happened with my email, but none of you received my staff report prior to this meeting. I do apologize for that, but this is also a very straightforward case, so I'm not too worried about it tonight. The property that we're dealing with tonight, in this case, case number 2022-07 MA. There's actually a lot of moving pieces on this property right now. It's going through early stages of development. There's a minor adjustment on this site. There is a section of right-of-way that's being vacated that adjoins this property that will be consolidated into it. That was part of a petition initiated by Board of Trustees. So there's a lot of moving parts, but tonight we get to focus in on just one of those pieces. Okay, so the applicant tonight is Kenwood Swim School LLC. They are proposing to simply, they wish to operate a swim school within this 00 office district, planned office district. Now that requires a major adjustment to this 00 PUD. It's not a principal permitted use in the office district, but it would be permissible with approval as a PUD. So here we are tonight. It's outside of my scope to authorize, but through zoning commission's recommendation to the Board of Trustees, they have an opportunity to operate this type of business. Okay, so just very briefly, I'll go into some overview of the site. The site consists of 1.7 net acres. With a frontage of 425 feet along Pine Road. The site you have here is it's highlighted in red. This is Pine Road off of East Galbraith. Behind it is a residential street, that's Monroe. And as we move further east, that's where we get to Kenwood Road, the intersection of Kenwood, East Galbraith, Jewish Hospital. So we're along that East Galbraith Road corridor. Okay. Surrounding zoning to the north of this property is C, single family residence district. This is the paper street, the right of way that is proposed to be vacated. Again, that a piece of that will be acquired by this site developer. To the south is more of the 00 planned office, as well as this section over here to the east. To the west is C, single family residence district. And we also have D, the planned multifamily residence on Pine Road as well. Okay. The proposed ISR for the site once developed is going to be at 0.683. Just as an overview, this is the approved site plan for the site. It consists of 2 single-story office buildings, each at a gross square footage of 9,000 square feet. There will be a net of 14,400 square feet of usable office space between these 2 buildings. Okay. All right, this is the general elevation of an example of the buildings that will be placed on this site. The applicant tonight is not proposing any exterior changes to this approved building. So the modifications would be interior to the site. You can see in the typical office configuration, they're proposing basically a 4-unit building with exterior access, 1 on the side, 1 on each side, and then 2 to the front. And I think these can actually be subdivided out even more than that, depending on the layout for future users. The applicant tonight is seeking to utilize 1 full building. I think this is just an example of a build out. I do not believe that the interior configuration for the swim school is fully fleshed out yet, but in the applicant's submittal tonight, they do show 3 different possible configurations for the inside of theirs. And I'm gonna jump forward a little bit and kind of steal from their slide. I think this is just a good illustration here. Sorry, guys.
Great.
All right.
That's it.
Yeah. So this is one concept showing roughly a 2,100 square foot pool, approximately 4 feet deep, that would be used for instruction. There's visitor spectator area, as well as offices, locker rooms, and general storage. Again, another example, different configuration. Okay. So again, like I said, there's a lot of moving pieces on this site. The case before us tonight is very focused. We're simply looking at that new use that's being considered for this existing PUD. With that being said, I guess a couple of things I want to talk about are the parking and land use. First off, the new land use plan that we have for this area. This is Pine Road right here off of East Galbraith. The site is right here where my pointer is. That is calling for office. Externally, I don't think we're making any changes. This would be a permitted use with the major adjustment. So I'm not seeing any major deviations from our land use plan here. Okay. Couple of quick thoughts about the parking. I think this was always intended to be a shared parking dynamic with between both offices. If we look at the most stringent, our medical office calculation for parking, which we do have, since we do have medical office in that area, we're looking at 1 parking space per 200 square feet of net square feet per building. That would give you a requirement of approximately 72 parking spaces. The site that is being proposed allows for 94 spaces. If we cut that in half for medical office, you're left with 36 parking spaces for future tenants of the other office building. And then if we look at swim facilities in our zoning code, they actually require 1 parking space per 50 square feet of pool area, plus plus one space for each employee. I don't have employee numbers, but that does come out to, that does come out to 42 spaces plus one for each employee. If we're just looking at, straight unshared spaces, there's 58 spaces remaining on site for the swim school alone, if they weren't using the shared parking configuration. So I'm not really worried about the parking, is what that whole calculation comes out to. Other than that, the plan is submitted conforms for the most part with previously approved plans for the area. Given current trends in office leasing, a broader vision may be appropriate. So I'm, in order to make these commercial uses viable, we do have some of this style office, in the Kenwood area that's not filling up. So it is certainly something to consider. With that being said, if this is to move forward, staff recommends the following conditions be granted. Item 1, except as noted below, all aspects of the Sycamore Township zoning resolution be adhered to, including but not limited to freestanding signs, dumpster enclosures, streetscape buffers, site lighting, off-street parking requirements, and mechanical equipment. This is pretty much a standard. 2, no outdoor advertising, billboards, or telecommunication towers shall be permitted on site. None are proposed. 3, exterior signage shall conform to the O zoning district provisions of the Sycamore Township zoning resolution. That's already in place for the site. I'm just kind of reiterating it. As an example, these buildings are approximately 115 feet long. In the O district, signage is allowed at I'm trying to think how to explain it. 1 square foot of signage per every half foot of frontage. So at 115 feet, they would be permitted a sign up to 57.5 square feet. So it's still a reasonably sized sign. Let's see. And finally, there must be 0-foot candles of light spill at the north and west property lines as previously required. I'm simply reiterating conditions that were already stipulated in the last zoning approval. Our applicant is here tonight, as well as, I believe, a representative of the property owner. So unless there's any questions for me, we can move on to their presentations.
Yeah, I do have one or two questions, I guess. The plan that you showed us there as far as the site goes, that's the one that was approved in 2009. Is that correct?
It's a modification. There is actually a minor adjustment that incorporates the additional 25 feet of property that will be acquired through the vacation.
Okay.
So this is conditionally approved. It was actually approved as a minor adjustment.
Okay.
So there's, like I said, there's a lot of moving pieces.
Were the buildings enlarged then? When
The buildings were not enlarged. I think they were moved out to allow for more parking.
okay. So this plan that we're looking at requires the vacation of the right of way, which is not approved yet. Is that right?
It's under review. It's already been initiated. Oops, sorry.
So any condition, if we did take action, should address the fact that that land has not been.
Well, the site plan may change, but I'm asking us to only look at the use tonight.
Okay.
So whether the site plan has to be modified to accommodate, a different configuration on the lot, we're adding a proposed use potentially.
It wouldn't change the number of parking though, even if they had a modified, would
They would have to meet the parking requirements under that new configuration. So, just as kind of a brief overview of that. So the paper street, Spencer Avenue between Monroe Avenue and Pine Road has been petitioned by the trustees to be vacated. This blue line kind of designates how that split would occur. anytime right away is vacated, it's split as evenly as possible, and the adjoining property owners, acquire that.
Okay.
So,
I think we just should be careful of whatever we're approving tonight regarding the site, that we're real clear that the site plan is not part of our discussion. Which, when you presented a site plan, that's all, make sure we're clear.
for reference only.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
the site plan's being handled in other ways.
Okay. All right. And then were there any public comments submitted to the township regarding this case?
No, sir.
Okay. Any other questions?
Skylar, did you say the pool's gonna be 4 feet deep? That's it?
That's it. Yes, sir.
4 feet all the way from one end to the other. So there's gonna be any diving, so it's just basically learning how to swim. Okay.
Does this use consume the entire footprint of one of the buildings, or is it
It's-
just part?
It's the entire footprint of one of the buildings.
And we're just looking at use, so we're not looking at whether the second building is constructed at the same time, or
So the second building would be available for general office users. Or I suppose another swim school.
Probably
Since
not.
that's permitted. No, I'm teasing.
But not developed at the same time. Or it could.
So the site has been acquired by, is it Robert Lucky Group? Yep. So there, typically there is a staggered, construction timeline, but they want to get these up. So I don't have any major concerns with timing from them.
but if this is approved, is there any contingencies or issues with a second building being proposed there? Or if somebody wanted to do something different in the second building, do they have to come back, and that would be part of a major EUD adjustment again?
We have a full table of uses that would be permissible in the O district.
Okay.
As well as this recreational facility. So if somebody wants to deviate from what's principally permitted, then we would be back in here. If they wanted to modify the second building, that would also bring us back to some kind of board review. Yeah. So, but if we're essentially just adding that use. We're not saying this building has to be used for a swim school and a swim school only. So in the future, if the use were to change, the building, the interior of the building could be converted for another principally permitted use. Is that what you're asking?
That was a good question.
Okay. All right. I'm glad I filled that in. Yeah. So, yeah.
Put a dance floor over, make a dance.
So maybe that brings up, if we are leaning that direction, I would recommend that a motion be made to add an additional use of a private recreation facility be added as a permitted use with following conditions.
Okay. Well, you have any question? Okay. All right, we have an applicant here that wanted to make a presentation this evening, or?
My name is Richard Simtop.
Okay.
Yeah.
what do
Go
you
on up
know?
here. Yeah.
First of all, thank you guys so much for hearing us out tonight and giving us an opportunity to present to you and bringing Sycamore Township, one of the finest learn to swim facilities that are in America. Goldfish Swim School. Do you want to do that slide?
Yeah.
All right. So our core focus is to teach kids how to be safer in and around the water and making it a really golden experience. So it's a little different than a swim club. We're not training kids to become Olympians. This is not like a high school training camp or become pro. We start with children when they're 3 months old, and we're teaching them so if they ever fall in the water, they're not going to drown. And you know that drowning is the second most common death of children under 6 years old. So it's really bad because some kids don't even learn how to swim. So it's a really important part of the community. Next. So who we are is Goldfish. Goldfish has core values. We go above and beyond with every single detail from when you walk into our facility and every interaction to leave with a golden experience. And we believe in developing a culture of a wow customer service experience. And our customers keep on coming back week after week after week, and they tell their friends, and that's what's made Goldfish successful. We do the right things, we make the right decisions, and we treat people with integrity, compassion, and trust. And we meet and exceed our expectations. You see extraordinary results. And there's nothing better than seeing a child that couldn't swim, 18 months later, they're swimming the entire length of the pool. And it's like so rewarding to the parent, to the children. They have so much confidence. They walk out of there feeling like they can do anything. And then we make a big deal about life's accomplishments, and we remember to celebrate. And we do a lot of high fives, we give ribbons, we give little gifts to the kids when they come. So it makes it a really amazing place for the children to be. Next. So we also create a lot of jobs in the community. A typical swim school has 20 to 30 employees, mostly part-time people. So we have people that work 6 hours to 20 hours, sort of like the typical. We have 1 or 2 full-time people in the school, the general manager and the assistant manager. And besides that, we're giving jobs to people that are going to school and making money. And instead of working at a restaurant or somewhere else that they're not as passionate about, they get to do something they really love and they're really passionate about, working at Goldfish Swim School. So our general hours of our school, we are open at 9. We do morning lessons for a very, very small group of people that have stay-at-home moms that can bring their kids in the morning. But the majority of our business happens from 4:30 in the 4 o'clock to 8:30 at night, Monday to Friday, and on Saturday and Sunday, which really complements being in an office area. And about half the swim schools in the country are open in office areas. They're in industrial parks and in office areas, because retail has been usually unreachable for a lot of people to open a swim school. And we take the excess parking that's not being used at night. When we're busy, all the office workers are at home. So that's the next slide. 70% of our business done when we're not there. So our product is next. Our product is making swimming fun. Every single instructor we have gets lifeguard certified. Safety is our #1 priority, over and above teaching kids how to swim. And we've had a really great record. There's over 130 goldfishes around the country. We have 2 in Cincinnati, 1 in Westchester, north of here, about 13 miles, and 1 south in Anderson on Beachmont, about 13 miles. So we picked this location because it's the equidistance between both of our locations and filling a need in this community that we know we can fill. Next. So we primarily target children up to 9 years old. We do target household incomes that are higher that can afford to do this. And the age of our parents are in the 30 or 40 range. And almost all of our families are college educated. Next. When we open, we hold a big grand opening event to the community. It's free to the community. A lot of people come out. We usually hold 1 or 2 free events to the community. We have a safety day and other celebratory days that's absolutely free, just to get the community to come together for an event on a weekend. And it's always really fun, and we get local businesses involved too. Next is we have our own mascot named Bubbles. We'll have one here too at all our events. You'll have one of our employees will dress up in Bubbles, and kids love having pictures with him. And then the next slide, we go to schools and we offer a water safety program. So we go to schools, usually 1st, 2nd, 3rd graders. Sometimes we can get in earlier, and we have a whole presentation that we teach how to be safe in and around the water. So we're not teaching how to swim, we're teaching how to be safe so nothing bad happens. Now, we're very fortunate. We have a brand ambassador. Maybe some of you have heard of Ryan Murphy after winning several gold medals at the Olympics. And he is a brand ambassador and does a lot of social media for us. In addition, we give back. We have nationally, we are part of the USA Swimming Foundation. We do some fundraising for them. We also do offer lessons to people that can't afford them. So we have a scholarship program. We have a limited amount of those that we offer, and it helps people that might not be able to afford but really need it. And then the details of our school. So our typical school is 6,000 to 9,000 feet. This particular building is 9,000 feet as it's designed. We are going to be buying, not just leasing, but buying the building. So we'll be a permanent resident of Sycamore Township, not just coming here to lease for 10 years. We have our pool is going to be 25 wide and 75 long. So 75 yards long. It's 75 feet, which is 25 yards. I'm confusing myself. So that's the right length when they're training at the end, when they're about 6 or 7 years old and they've gone through all 12 levels. That's when they swim lengthwise on the pool. But at the beginning, they always swim the widthwise. So they're swimming only 25 feet across. And at the beginning, they're only swimming halfway through. And we keep our pool at 90 degrees. So when they get in the water, they don't get cold. And when they come out of the water, the air temperature around the pool is 92 degrees. All of our change rooms are private. So fathers with their daughters or daughters with their mothers, we're not mixing and match. When I had to take my child to swim lessons, I had to take my daughter into a men's changing room. They didn't have private change rooms and the water was 70 degrees and the pool was 5 feet deep. So I could barely touch the bottom while I was holding my daughter up. So we make the pools 4 feet deep so all of our teachers can stand and we can hold the kids, but the kids can't touch the bottom. So it teaches them how to swim, in a safe environment. And then the next is just some renderings of some of the pictures of what they look like. And then what we are going to do inside. We have what's called the wet side of the dry side. So I told you about the 92 degrees. That's where the kids are. That's the glassed in area where the pool is. The other side where the parents are watching the kids, it's mid 70 degrees, air conditioned, nice and comfortable. So they're watching their kids while they're in the heat. They come out for the last couple of minutes to see their kids do the finishing of the class, and then they take them out and they take them through the showers. And that's why we're excited to come here. We know we're going to be a great addition. We've been waiting a while to open up our third school in Cincinnati. We've proven ourselves in our market in the 2 locations that we have already. And we're really hoping that you guys approve the special use for us to be able to operate in this office building. Any questions?
Could you tell me, you had 20 to 30 employees overall. How many are there during a shift?
You have 10 employees during the
10?
swim shift.
Okay. So the parking spaces you're talking about are
That still works. Yeah.
still works. Okay. Thank you.
Is there any contention with parking in the summertime when you might have people coming, other times during the day that just 4:30?
We actually don't do open. Jen, how often do we have a lot of lessons during the day in the summer?
The only additional lessons we offer are jumpstart clinics would add about 8 people per half hour. So not a large increase in summer daytime activity.
Yeah.
Do you
During the summer, we have the competition of outdoor swimming pools. We don't have that competition in the winter. We're the only one in town.
Do you have a maximum number of students that you have at any one given time?
Yeah, 40 kids in the water would be like max at one time. It's the most of the pool can handle, basically.
Any questions? All right, I guess if there's anyone here from the public has any other questions, applicant? No? Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else from your team wanted to present anything? Okay, I'll close the floor for public comments and take a motion for discussion on the case.
For that, I move that we consider case 2022-07 MA with the staff recommended conditions.
I'll second it.
All right. I guess for discussion, I guess we just ought to be real clear that we are doing an interior use, permitted use change, I guess, and not a site modification. So as far as any amendments, maybe bring that up, I guess.
So the wording, I think here, it says the applicant seeking to modify and approve PUD to allow for that use.
Yeah.
And then Skylar's recommendation says, let's see.
Yeah, I didn't actually, I apologize. I didn't put it in the actual language here. So if we're moving towards an approval, I would say motion to approve an additional use to the PUD.
Okay.
So, I guess an additional use of a private swim school to the PUD.
Okay. Discussion?
It's not currently like a conditionally permitted use or something like that
No.
that we can
So
reference.
the
It's literally adding an additional use to the laundry list of. uses.
So the typically with a PUD, any principally permitted use in the underlying zoning district is allowed in the PUD. Okay, but if you actually look through our code, this particular use, the private swim school under recreation facilities, requires the approval of a PUD in the O district. So it triggers the requirement for a PUD. Since there's already a PUD on site, it requires a major adjustment.
Now, is that because it's a pool? I mean, if this were, say, a fencing school that we're gonna open in this building, would that also be a use that wasn't described and be an exception?
Yes, any recreation, any type of recreation facility would require that.
Okay.
Yep.
Is that clear?
Yeah, so I'm thinking rather than, well, yeah, just modify your motion, I guess, to that. Approve as submitted for a.
So
recreation-
the
recreation
move that
additional
we
use.
consider
Yeah.
this case
Yeah.
to approve
Mhm.
recreational uses within the existing PUD.
Well,
Within
there's different parking requirements. Okay, maybe we do it this way. How about motion to amend, let's see here. I gotta think about it. We want a motion to add the swim school use as submitted to the existing PUD. Otherwise, you're going to get, we're opening up all of the recreational uses.
Mhm.
We haven't looked at the parking requirements, which may be,
Okay,
so.
so maybe we.
Would you like me to restate that?
Restate, I guess.
All right.
But before we do that, is there any other discussion, I guess, do we want to bring up any other points to address?
I think it's a good use personally, and for that area.
The other thing I was concerned about, I guess, was possibly noise to the rear affecting the residents more on the weekends, which an office 9 to 5, Monday, Friday, weekends, it's pretty quiet, doesn't affect the neighbors, where the weekend here might generate more noise, but it looks like all the parking is out front, so. I think that's an
Plus,
issue.
I did look at that. Number one, like you said, the parking is out to the front and it is interior to the two buildings. But also all activities are done within the building.
Yeah.
There's no play set or anything like that outside. Because I was actually trying to look at like how YMCA's are set up, and those have a lot of exterior uses. This does not. So.
Do we have any comments from the fire department as far as extra EMS
concerns.
runs or anything like that?
No concerns.
Okay, is that any other discussion? Okay, all right, so I guess, Mr. Mish, you will withdraw your motion, is that? Are we going to withdraw your first motion? Sure. Okay, all right,
To make a new one?
yes. Sure.
All right, I move that we consider case 2022-07MA to add a swim school as a to add a swim school as submitted to the existing PUD, including the staff recommended conditions.
We'll say add a swim school as a permitted use.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Okay. All right, any other discussion?
The only thing I think we ought to put on the record is though we did not individually receive the staff report ahead of time. Does everyone on the panel, have you had enough time to review the staff report? Nothing else from me.
All right, no other discussion, I'll take a vote. James?
Ms. Flanagan.
Aye.
Mr. Barrett.
Aye.
Mr. Roos.
Aye.
I vote yes as well. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Swanson.
Short.
Sorry.
Hard to see. Yes. on that.
Yeah, okay.
Me as
Okay,
well.
great, okay. So, motion approved, unanimous. This does go to the trustees then, or does it stop here?
This will be forwarded to the trustees for final approval.
And that'll be later in April or the May meeting?
Let's see, we're looking at, I believe it'll be their first meeting in May.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We can't wait to open up
Okay.
late within the year.
All right.
Gonna be open for next winter?
We want to be, the goal would be to be open by December. If we could do it. That's gonna be tough. But if we can be open in January, February.
Okay.
I think groundwork on site is gonna start, is it this week or next?
Next week, I believe.
Next week, yeah.
Larry said it back. Yeah,
Yep.
next week.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We can wait from you or you said there's
Yeah,
a meeting in May.
Well, you'll send us.
We'll put all, yeah, we'll send all that information out.
Thanks, nice meeting you guys.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Somebody leave their
Jacket.
Somebody left their jacket.
I think it's Doug.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel a little wet.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Skylar, do we have a report from the trustees on any activities?
No, not really. I can update you. Two of the cases that were heard at your last meeting were approved. It was the tire discounter. They approved with a slight modification. They reduced the building signs down to code. So there will be two signs at a maximum of 150 square feet. So that was they reduced
Were
it.
we over that? Did we approve
So there were, when it was submitted and reviewed by zoning commission, there were three oversized signs that were each 128 square feet. And you reduced one of them, but there was kind of a give and take with the discussion. And you cut one off and allowed them to keep the two signs, the other two signs as proposed. And trustees whittled them down a little bit more. So now instead of I take that back. It wasn't two code. So code would allow for a maximum of 150 square feet. They allowed 180. So they were kind of sort of merciful. So and then the other case was gosh, I'm drawing a blank. That was Equipment Depot. That went through, there was an applicant requested modification. They wanted approval for a future telecommunication tower. And, so number one, under the 1996 Federal Telecommunication Act, we have very limited control over cell towers anyways. We don't allow, no one allows them in residential areas. Everywhere else is open game. The fact that, we were able to dictate where it was going to go on their site, we kind of considered a boon. So we specified that. Whether or not we can control a telecommunication tower through a PUD, I would make the argument that we can, but I don't necessarily want to test it in court. So this was good. We're gonna, if they're gonna have a cell tower in the future, it's in an industrial area. So no issues. So Tri-Health has requested two, they haven't withdrawn their case, but they've asked to delay or postpone due to scheduling conflicts. So we punted on August 5th, April 5th, punted again on the 19th. So it'll be heard sometime in May.
You have a change they want to make, or are they coming forward with?
They are proposing to reduce it down. Instead of the 30-foot sign, I think it's now down to 20. So,
But this is still a movable, another sign that.
there's still an LED component, but it's been reduced down. Instead of 8x8, it's 4x8. So still a monster. Other than that, that's all I have.
Did the land use committee get reinstated? I guess?
The land use committee, we have not, I haven't made any plans to set our first meeting. I'm still kind of floating the land use plan to the planning staff at Hamilton County. So there hasn't been a case on that yet. As soon as that gets approved by the county, then we'll start that up. So I'm dragging my feet a little bit, but there's been some other projects we've been working on. So I haven't pushed for them to put a formal case on yet, but that's coming soon.
Because we had 2 or 3 areas we wanted to go deeper on. Right?
Yep,
So-
and I still have every intention of bringing those back. I think there's a lot of merit to having additional policy areas. So we will be getting that. We did put out, we had 2 vacancies on our land use steering committee. So during this last newsletter, we requested, some letters of interest. We have received some really good candidates for that. So I think that'll be a good proactive group as we get it going again.
Okay, next meeting's May 9th. Do we know of anything coming up?
Angie, do we have anything for that one?
No, not yet.
Nothing yet? Okay. There we go.
Just easy.
Yep.
All right. So we can sit around for a couple hours. I think if there's any other issues, I'll take a motion to adjourn. We adjourn.
That's a good idea.
Good choice. Second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I guess we're adjourned.
6:47.